Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. We have the pleasure of having one of our team members here at Innovia Consulting joining us, Steve Waltz. He is our Director of New Client Engagement, and he's going to be presenting on Boost Revenue with your Business Central CRM. And as a reminder, we are recording this webinar, and we will post it to our on-demand webinar library for you to review again or share with anyone. And you can find our library under our resources tab on our website at innovia.com. And we do encourage you to ask questions during our presentation, so please feel free to type them into the questions box and we will answer them at the end of our session. So now I'm going to turn it over to Steve to kick off our presentation.
Well, thanks, Angie. Welcome, everybody. Good morning to our webinar today, Boost Revenue with your Business Central CRM. I'm excited about presenting on this. As Angie said, my name is Steve Waltz. I'm the Director of New Client Engagement. I've been here at Innovia for going on almost 8 years now. So for some of you that have been on my webinars, you know my background, but for some of you new folks, a little bit about my background. I've been in the great field of sales for north of 35 years. I've had many different roles. The one I'm most proud of is I've carried the bag, I've pounded the pavement, I've been a peddler, salesperson, right? Generate revenue for your company, and worked in other roles, right? Cross-functional teams, marketing, sales training, sales management, senior account management, and currently here at Innovia, have the great opportunity of working with those that are looking at us as a partner. One of the things too is that I've worked with several different CRM systems, actually 3 different platforms, and I think where that will benefit us on this presentation is to really give you a view of not just like a salesperson's view, or, coming from other different angles. So I want to kind of review the agenda of what we're going to talk about. So just to let you know, this webinar that we're doing is going to be about half kind of talking about sales and the process, and the other half looking at some of the software, the functionality of CRM and Business Central. And the reason is it's important because they align with each other. So what we have on the agenda is the number one question I ask, not just on CRM, but when you start any major project, the question, the why. Why are you doing this, right? Because it becomes important as you work through any type of process to remember what is our end goal. And I'm going to kind of go through some of the sales things, like understanding the number of sales. And these numbers are mind-boggling. And if you haven't seen them, I think you'll be surprised at some of these numbers, because that's important to know too. And understand your sales process. Hey, if you're one of the companies that actually have one, congratulations. A lot of, showing up and throwing up and talking about how great your company isn't really a sales process. So we need to understand, what does it take from hello to yes, right? Then you establish your sales process and build out your sales cycle to help you do that journey from all the way from hello to yes. And also on here, we're going to talk about how much information is really needed. If you're a salesperson, or if you're a sales manager, or whoever, I'm sure you heard this. You want me selling, or you want me putting stuff in CRM? Well, kind of want you doing both, right? And a lot of it is how much is too much and what information is needed. And then lastly, we're going to do a demo on CRM, and it's going to be a high-level demo because it's very robust. And I think I'm going to go over some of the things that can really tie in what we're trying to do, increase revenue. Right? Because at the end of the day, what are we trying to accomplish? And it all starts with the word why. Why do you want to use it? Because if I ask an owner of a company, the answer is going to be different if I ask a salesperson of a company or an operations person, right? Because they all want to use it for different things. If I'm an owner, what I want to see my sales forecast is going to be, kind of allocate resources. If I'm an ops person, I want to see, do I have enough inventory in stock? What I got to keep my workers busy, or I want to use this data for this. And a salesperson, what do they want to see it for? Well, they want to see it to help them sell more stuff, right? And so it's important to come up with consensus, because you have to remember at the end of the day, what is the why? And most times the conversation is to sell more product or service and have a better customer experience. And if we keep the focus on that, things go well, okay? Because we talked earlier, who's it being built for? And when I've asked owners of companies, I've talked with VP of sales, and they think it's being built for them. It's actually being built for who? Who puts the data in the system? Who actually brings in business, right? So is it really being built for the salesperson to help them do their job better? That usually helps on making sure it goes well. And have you defined your goals of your CRM, right? What are your goals? Are your goals to, improve your process? Are your goals to increase sales X%? You need to really, help organize our accounts and our contacts better. And so you'll kind of need to have those conversations early on. And lastly, a question that I ask and that everybody needs to ask themselves, who's going to own this? Right? As a salesperson, you need to own your own territory. You're the CEO of your territory, right? But if you don't put an activity in, your company's not going to shut down. So who's going to own it at the high end? So is leadership going to own this CRM and understand that, the consensus was we're going to use this to do what we said we're going to do, increase sales. You need to put your activities in, you need to put your opportunities in, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. So one of the things I like to ask people and discuss, have discussion is, what does CRM not do? Well, this surprises some people, but it makes sense, right? It does not make your sales people better. Why doesn't it? I mean, if you have an A player, you have a B player, and you have a C player, right? Your A salesperson, God bless you if you got some. They're the ones they're GSCs, or get stuff done people, right? They're persons of excellence. They're out there working hard, trying to keep your company working, selling product, selling services, and they just grind. And then you got the B players, right? The ones that are, they're good salespeople, but they don't really maybe have the right process, or they're more farmers versus hunters, versus a hybrid. There's so many different reasons. But then you have the C players that are just kind of there, right? Is this going to make them better? Because if you think about the tools of the past, right? I've been in sales for a long time, and somebody told me, Steve, CRM is an electronic file cabinet. For those of you under 30 that don't know what a file cabinet is where they would store data, right? You would have files, you keep track of your clients, their contact's name if they bought stuff from you. And so now we have this great platform to put that data, right, stored in the cloud or in your servers, to where we have access to our contacts, their phone numbers, all this wonderful stuff, okay? So if they didn't do it before, are they going to fight doing it in? Because they need to see the value of it. So what I have below that, it doesn't replace sales training. This is a great opportunity for you if you're looking at going to CRM, or if it's not going well, you're thinking about it. Who generates revenue for your company? Your sales team. And it's interesting if you onboard salespeople and even sales managers. A lot of companies, well, if they onboard an accountant, they're going to say, okay, this is how we post, this is how we do our month end, this is how we do our year, and there's all these processes, right? Operations, this is how we set this up, this is how we do this. But in sales, it's like, okay, here's a sale, we just hired some salespeople, go sell. They just seem to be different than all the other parts of the business. But I'm going to review in the numbers of sales some of the things that are profound, but a lot of organizations don't have sales training. And these are the people in charge of generating revenue for your company. So it kind of goes into it does not sell. And what do I mean by that? It's still people dealing with people. People buy on emotion, right? People don't like to buy things. People don't like to be sold things. They like to buy things. So you got to be cognizant of that. And lastly, what I have here, it doesn't coach salespeople. There is a fine line between coaching salespeople and compliance. Years ago when CRM was kind of implemented, and I remember going through it, it was the first time that things were time stamped, right? Wait a second. I traveled 6 hours. I went from one account to another. You might have a road warrior, somebody flying. They're going and they come home. Oh, wait a second, kid's got a soccer game. Things are going on. I'll put that in a couple days later. So you put it in, but the powers that be are like, you got to put that in after every sales call. You need to do it after this. We need to be careful on that, right? Because that's a compliance thing. And we talked about, and we'll go over some of the numbers. You got to be careful with top salespeople, or people that were, as I said, people like to know what to not to be told what to do. But you can use it as a compliance tool. to kind of identify certain things, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So let's get into the numbers of sales. And this one really surprised me because a couple years ago, I might have even had on a webinar that there was about 500,000 openings for sales jobs. Well, in the fourth quarter, the Wall Street Journal said there's over 700,000 job vacancies in sales. I've had people tell me, well, there's a shortage of 40,000 developers in this country. There's a shortage of almost 750,000 sales jobs. The younger generation views a sales job on the socioeconomical scale below a trash man. I mean, they just don't want to have sales tied to their on their business card. And I just never understood. And most people don't go to college and say I'm going to be a salesperson. Now there's sales programs and sales management programs. My son even went through one of them. But we need to be cognizant that here are all these openings. And the reason I bring that up is that if you have an A player or B player and you push them too hard and ride them and become this compliance-driven company, they can get a job tomorrow somewhere else, right? And here's another number that's kind of scary. It used to be about 50% about 20 years ago. But the numbers say that 64% of salespeople do not ask for the sale. Almost 2/3 of the salespeople that are driving revenue for your company are not asking for the business. Did they not do a good job of discovery? Did they not do a good job or earn the right to? At the end of the day, what do you think? Oh, great. All right, talk to you later. And my gosh, why are salespeople scared? And that's another conversation. And this is another number. This one has been steady over the years. 50%, half the salespeople don't follow up once. You're having a conversation. I'm sure you went somewhere, maybe buy an appliance or looking at something you want to buy. Give them your phone number, contact information, and crickets. Half don't follow up once. So 2/3 don't ask, and the other half doesn't even follow up. And the data has showed, and this has been pretty consistent over the years, that 80% of all sales are made between the 5th and the 12th contact. But less than 10% of salespeople make more than 5 calls. So what does this tell you? If you're a bulldog and you just follow up with people, you're going to make a good living as a salesperson, right? And the reason I have these numbers on here is we're going to talk about the sales process. Now this gets back to what I talked about on the earlier slide, right, about sales training. This number still is mind-boggling to me, that 90% of salespeople have never read a book on sales. We need you to go generate revenue for us. Oh, okay, I'll go get it. And they've never been really trained or read books on it. And with all this data out there with LinkedIn and YouTube, it's crazy that the education can be so readily available. So one thing when we talk about the sales process, we need to understand now how buyers are buying. Okay, it used to be different, and I always like to reference the old car dealership model, right? Years ago, before this thing called the internet existed, if somebody wanted to buy a car, they had to go to the dealership, right, to get a brochure on the car. They wouldn't learn about incentives or anything about the car. They had to talk to a salesperson. Well, now they don't need that salesperson because it's all on the interweb, right? They can go out and see all the information they want to see. So they're researching it. And some of the problems about that, when we research on our own, we become these self-proclaimed experts, but we have really no experience. We're just reading the data on the website. Another thing that is interesting is that Anthony Iannarino, in one of his most recent books, put in that clients are unwilling to accept a poor sales experience. They expect your sales team, your salesperson, to have a process, right? We work with ERP systems here, and as far as I know, people don't buy ERP systems or upgrade them every day. So they're looking to us to lead them, right? So they want engagement, not a sales pitch. They say, hey, what I got to do to put you in this car today, that's gone. That's the old legacy model of selling, right? People want to understand, all right, where are you at? Tell me what you've researched. What are you looking to do? A conversation. And the reason I'm bringing this up, because when you set up your CRM, you need to understand that this is going to lead your process, because they expect you to have one and lead them through this process. All right, so let's talk about your sales process. This is another number that's crazy. 2/3 of salespeople don't have, or they do have a sales process and they don't follow it. 2/3, right? And what do I mean by sales process? from hello, how you doing, to yes, I want to buy that, right? And what in between. And depending on your deals and what you sell, the process is going to be completely different, right? Because from hello to closed, you have the process. And you should. And hopefully you have enough data proven to tell you what your win percentages are, what your probability are, and what's the best next step. Because what I have here, show up and throw up is not a process. The old version of sales is, and think about it, like if you've had a salesperson you're discussing and you ask a question and they just sit there and give you a pitch of their product and company for a half hour, and you're like, please end it now. You just want to escape. And so that is not a process. And that is, if and sales teams are trained by marketing, here's all our wonderful benefits, go out and sell it to them. 60% of salespeople, another number, right? Over 60% of salespeople don't ask for a next step. So if you have a process and you're moving somebody down that process, then you should be a leader and say, okay, at this time, the next step is X, right? Because what I've learned from sales training, there's a word that salespeople are scared more than any other word that has only 2 letters. It's the word no. Because I can live on this island of hope. Because if I don't ask them, or if they don't say no, then there's a chance, right? So Helen, you're saying there's a chance, right? Well, if you don't, you want to know, at this point you said yes, so the next step is X. If they say great, let's do it, they told you they're interested, and if they're backpedaling saying, well, I don't know, they're kind of telling you right in the process. I personally want to know, because you look at the last part, is that if we're gonna make CRM successful, we need to build our sales processes and align them with our CRM. So if you look here, and I have this on most of my presentations, is what's called the sales activity funnel. And we're going to look at a funnel here in a little bit in the relationship management. But when we are working with salespeople, we understand that there is a sales funnel. How does that happen, right? The first third is create. How are you creating business? Are you outbound calls? Are you dealing with inbound calls? Do you have account managers calling your current clients? Do you have a mix of all that? Okay, because 1/3 of the activity should be spent on doing that. If you're just living off your current base and not really going after new business, that's a risky ask. So we need to be focused on creating that. Second one is the advance, and that's where the sales process and the relationship management is really going to help you in this, is right. So we got a prospect, or we got a current client, we got them interested in this product. Okay, how do we advance them? What do we need to do to move them through the process to get a yes or a no, right? And so that's usually about 1/3 of it, and the last is a close. And I don't know if 1/3 of your time and activity is spent on that, but it's really, once you get to the proposed stage, what are we going to do? And so you can see here what it has at the bottom listed too, is that, how often should you have meetings, right? Every week and every month. We need to ask ourselves, if you're a salesperson, what new opportunities did I create for my proactive sales effort? Or what am I doing to move and advance deals? All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the software here. So what I'm going to do is kind of show you a little bit about Business Central, some of the functionality of the relationship management, but how easy it is and how tight it is with Microsoft. So you can see right here, I have Microsoft Office open. And here's some of my windows, Outlook, Teams. If I click on the waffle here, you can see I have Business Central right there. Okay, and I have it open over here. But also, if I open up my Outlook, it's going to bring it over here, and you can see I have Outlook. Now, if you are using Business Central SaaS, it's automatically, you connect it, or you can connect Business Central on premise to a connection. But if you're using the full suite of Office 365 and Business Central, then it would recognize, when you connect it to your Office, all your contacts. So you can see here I have some emails, and that I have an email from Jeff. And Jeff saying, hey, Steve, I want to order some of this product called Logitrack. And I'm like, well, that's great. It's in my inbox. So what I can do, instead of leaving to my Business Central, I can stay in Outlook, and I click on my little dots here, and you can scroll down and you can see there's Business Central. and some contact insights. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, and it's going to check to see if Jeff is a contact inside Business Central. Okay. So as it's loading here, it's going to basically pull up right here. It says Spotsmeyer. So Jeff works for Spotsmeyer. So it's pulling up the company card right in Outlook. So you can see here, it even shows some of the details. What is your current balance? You can see the past due. They pretty much show everything that they have bought from us. But you can kind of see how many go in sales quotes, sales orders, all this wonderful information right here. Okay. But what did Jeff say? That he said he was interested in buying some Logitech. So the cool thing is here is I click on the ellipticals again, and you can see here, I can do whatever I want with an email. I can respond, I can, do different certain things, but you can see under new document, it has sales quote and sales order. Well, Jeff said that he wants to buy, so there's no reason for a sales quote. So I'm gonna click on sales order, and what it's gonna do, it uses some AI to basically see what's in the email. And you can see it says Jeff wants 25 cases of this number, and by this date. So you can tell here that it pulled up the Logitech at 25, but for some reason it said battery case. I don't know why it pulled up battery case, but we don't want that. We just want here. So I click on what I want, which is in the email, and I click OK. And what it's going to do, it's going to basically create a sales order. Right? So I'm still inside of Outlook. If I'm a salesperson, I'm going, this is cool. I don't have to leave my Outlook. And it shows the company, Jeff's name, posting date. Now it says due date. He said by June 30th. So I can put in here, I can change that to June 30th if I wanted to. I'm just going to leave it alone. Oh, I guess not. So I'm going to click on June 30th. And you can see here it has the item number right here. And if I want to, I can pop this out, but I'm not going to pop that out right now. That it would actually give you a clean full sales order of 25. Great. So I can check all the other information here, right? Is there a, invoice number? Are there any outdated bills? Are they getting a discount? All these wonderful things here. But what I want to do is go ahead and send it out. So you can see all these different options here. So for this, where it says print and send, I'm going to do an email confirmation to where it's going to send an email to Jeff saying that here's your order for 25 cases of Logitech, and you'll be ready to go. So it's doing it right now. And depending on your connection, it's going to determine how fast it produces the sales order. So, but you can see where I'm going with that. So it's going to produce the sales order in an email form. So what I'm going to do now is kind of go over to our Business Central. If you look at Business Central, it has the name of the company, right? Steve's Amazing Sales Company. And I'm obviously in a demo environment. And it just has things showing up on your ribbon that I want to see as a sales relationship manager or as a sales manager. So these roles right here can be changed however you want. So if you go to the gear here, you can kind of see where it says my settings, and it's going to show what I have listed as my role setter, right? Because it's to where you want to set up to things that you use. And if I click on the little three dots here, it's going to show you all the different ones I have, okay, that are available. So people on the shop floor, you got accounting people, human resource, production, all these different folks. And there's another way to search for that too. If you click on search, search will be your friend in Business Central, and type in roles. What you're going to see here is that it's going to search for roles, which is profiles. But the reason I put roles in there is to see that it identified that you're looking for the profiles. So if I click on profiles, it's going to show you what I just saw earlier with the gear. But what's different about this is that when you set up your Business Central and you're doing permissions, you can enable or disable certain people from it. So an hour later, my quote came up. So I'm going to go ahead and send my quote to Jeff. So that's done. But you can see here that these are all like an accountant. I'm not going to be an accountant, so I'm disabled from doing that. But you can see all the different role centers that are available. Okay. So as we take a look at this, you can see like your contacts, your opportunities, your sales quotes are all right here. these are that you can look at, and we'll get into the contacts. But if you want to do a sales quote right here on my role center, I can do a sales quote or sales order right here. So I want to kind of see certain things. I can see these are all the contacts that we have. The relationship management inside Business Central is based on contacts. Okay, as you see here, there's 205 companies, 392 individuals. Then we get into the opportunities. And so as a sales manager, how many open opportunities do we have as a team? Well, we got 58. You can see here how many are going to be closing in the next 3 days. 7 days, there's 3 of them. So you see how it's green? Well, that's a good thing. And you can set those parameters, right? No color is basically normal, green is good, and then red over here, we got 38 overdue. That's not good. So I got to talk with my sales team. Maybe they need to update their opportunities, their past due, and their dates. And you can see your close opportunities. You can also see how many open sales quotes, orders. You can make this customized how you want, right? Even if you have timesheets, people clocking in and out, you can put it here. But let's get into what people really want to see on their dashboard, and that's the sales pipeline. Now you can see here in the pipeline, it says sales cycles. So if I click on it, it'll say next cycle. So we're going to talk about, you can have multiple sales cycles. Okay, so I'm seeing different ones in this sales cycle, or I can click, I can go to the next one if I want. And there's a way to see an all up pipeline also, but it's all drillable. It tells you how many at the top end of the stage, right? There's 3 opportunities at the top end, and I can work down and you can see the different stages right here. But you can also see here the opportunities of all the folks that are on your team. Now, if I click over Tom has 8 opportunities. I got 5, but these are current opportunities. These are in progress for the month. So if I click on it, I can filter out, how do I want to see my opportunities? Do I want to see the ones that are in progress, the ones that we have won, the ones we have lost, the ones that are active today? Do I want to see week? You can filter all the way up to a year or previous period. So you can really do a good job of filtering your opportunities. So we created a box here, which is nice, which we put top 5 opportunities. And I think as a sales manager, I want to see the top 5. And I do think for salespeople, I think I would want to see my top 5. And it just reminds you, right? What you can just hover over it and you can see it pops in. They are drillable. That there's one on tables. You can see here one on CCM is worth $500,000. But look at this, all up on this opportunity we have for all these different stores for promotion is $1.5 million. So that's you can make that as what you want, top 10, top 5, whatever you want. And then also what we have done is we use Power BI, and you can incorporate that on your dashboard. And I have my COGS report on here, and I can actually click on here and I can choose whatever report I want. I can drill into it. If I look at my report right here, I can pop it out, get a better view of it. And you can see here, it's my net revenue and gross margin. I can look back different time frames and it gives me all the numbers I need to know. I can go back to the report and change the report. And lastly, what's kind of cool is that I have a report inbox. So I get an email sent to me in PDF form every week of all the sales people, their tasks that they did for that week. I want to see what the activity was. And you can have a report inbox of anything that you really would like to see. So what I'm going to do here is to kind of get real granular on the Business Central, our relationship management. So I can work from my role center, or I want to show you to kind of go around the system a little bit. If I hit in sales person, it says salespeople purchaser. Okay, so it's going to pull up all my salespeople that I have. So I'm going to click on me, right? And so it's going to pull up my salesperson purchaser card. Because one thing you're going to learn is that everything in relationship management is like there's a contact card, there's an opportunity card, there's a purchasing card. So we're not really getting into the customer records. So you can see here it has my name, my initials, my title, all these different things about me. So, but if I click on process, right, I can see create interaction, send an email. I click on related, click on salesperson here. It kind of gives me more features. So what I want to do is I want to put a task in. So you can see here, these are all my tasks that I have. So I can see my task. I can actually look at all the salespeople's tasks to see, and you can see here, you can do a date ascending, descending, however you want to do it, and see, are they closed? What date did they started? What is the name of the opportunity? What's the priority? And you can set all this. Okay, so you can see here your different tasks. But so what I want to do is I want to create a new task. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a phone call, and I want to follow with I always use Jeff Pergalski, my podcast partner, right? I'm going to call Jeff about upcoming promotion. Okay, and I can put the start date, and you can see here that since this is a demo database, this is dated February of 20. So I'm going to just change this to 20 so we can see that interaction posted. Okay. And right here, the contact, I want to put in Jeff. It's going to pull up the contacts I talked with, more so. Then there's a little search button here. I type in Jeff P, right? I got Jeff from Spotsmeyer here. I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So you can see here, here's my follow-up call with Jeff. I've done a couple right here. So this is the one I created. And you can see that, let's say I just went ahead and completed the call. How do I close this? I get asked, right? So what's it called? A normal priority? Was it low, high? Was a high priority with Jeff. When was the start time? And if I hit here, closed, it wants to know if I want to put in my interaction log entry, and I do. It's basically going to log in all the activity I've done. Okay, so I can put in comments if I want to. Right here with Jeff, I can put in call went extremely well. Close. All right. Next, phone evaluation. I put in very well, very positive, because every call with Jeff is positive. And then when I click next, was it related to a campaign or opportunity? It wasn't, so I just hit finish. Do I want to create an opportunity? No, I don't want to create an opportunity, and it's done. So basically, I created a task, I completed the task, and the task has been logged. All right. So what I want to do is kind of get to the meat of what Business Central RM is really based on, and that's your contacts. So I'm going to click on contacts here. Okay. And you can see here, these are the ones that are not bold, these are individual, these are people. And you can see the bold is the parent company, and under them are the child relationship, are individual contacts. I can scroll down or I can search. So I'm going to search for Spotsmeyer. Right? So if I click on Spotsmeyer, it's going to pull up what's called the contact card. Can you see this right here? It doesn't say customer card. And that allows us to focus on the relationship management without getting involved with the customer card, which is usually an AR, accounting person that's dealing with these transactions. However, we can see the history of all the transactions, like their sales quotes that were done for Spotsmeyer by me. I can see, where the process is, any comments, the dates of them. So, but you can see here, Spotsmeyer listed as a company, has me as a salesperson, and it's a customer relationship because we can have vendors, we can have, vendors and customers. So what I want to bring out down here is, if you look here, it has profile questionnaire, and I addressed this on the last presentation I did, but you can set these profile questionnaires up for companies and individuals. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but this is pretty powerful stuff. Like you can see here in the last year that they only bought less than 3 times a year. They're kind of one of our bottom customers, right? Because they're bottom 25% based on their sales. And I have a list of how many employees they have, how many, what do we classify them as, A, B, or C customers? It gives you that capability, right? One thing I want to show you, that if I search customer, right? Customers, and then I'm gonna go ahead and search Spotsmeyer. Yep, they're right here. So I click on here, you're gonna see something, and I like to point this out because what does it say here? It says customer card. So I, as a salesperson, I don't want my sales team transacting in here, right? Because you're starting to see things, right? What their total sales are they under things that you want to know, but this is where the transactions happen for our accounting team. All right, so let's get back to our dashboard. All right, what I want to do is get into what we talked about earlier, our sales cycles. So if you search here to sales cycles, this is basically the sales process we talked about. Sales cycles, right? I click on that and you can see all of our current ones that we have listed. Now we have a demo database. We're not going to have this many sales cycles, but you can see here like first time small account, first time large account. I'm not sure how your business operates. If you are doing, more transactional type of things, or what we do here at Innovia is we work with ERP systems. So that's more of an enterprise type of sale. When there's a lot of stakeholders involved, so the process is a lot different for that. But if I click on first time large and hit the stages, you're going to see here it's going to pull up all the stages we have set for this opportunity, which is kind of cool. Like we have the initial call, which is 2% completed, and this is something I'm going to show you how to do, but a 10% chance of success. Right? There's even a code, initial. And one of the neat things about Business Central RM, it gives you the ability to skip steps, require steps, and even date stamp things, right? So you're allowed to skip this one. Maybe it's a current client, you already know them. But then you get to the qualification stage. Remember, this is a large deal, right? It's 5% completed, a 20% set. If you get to the stage, a 20% chance of winning. And this is why it's important to know your sales process and your win percentages, right? Because if you're able to close more than 60% of your business, that's great. That's awesome. Some industries is a lot lower. Some very few. It's more than that. But you can see here there's a company presentation, a product presentation, all the way to proposal and signature. So the completed part of the process gets to here, and then sign is 100% if they sign it, right? But proposal, they're saying that if we submit a proposal, even though 80% of the process is completed, we have an 80% win rate. But you see here that it requires a quote, and you're not able to skip this step. And you can even put a date formula in. And so let's say at the initial qualification call that you want a presentation after no later than 1 month, you can put in 1 month right here. You can see here, so it's going to remind you in 1 month, hey, this is coming up past due. So let's go back here, okay, and we can do a new one. So right here, I'm going to name it. Let's hear new software. Whoop, I'm sorry. That's new soft. Yeah, we'll do new soft, and then I can put the description in here. All right, large ISV add-ons. All right. So when I click on stages here, you see it's going to pull up to where I can make the stages. Like stage 1. I go to description, right? Introduction call. Percent completed. That's 5% of our process. No one usually buys a hello, so we'll make that a 5%. Activity code. Okay, so we can choose one that's already here, or we can make one. It says right here, right? So let's see here. All right. So we're going to create one. Code. Intro. Okay, what if I'm going to blow it up here? Let's see if it blows it up. Description. Introduction. All right. Click OK. I created that step, and it's allowed to be skipped. So you can see here, I can go back and step 2, create discovery call. Right. At that point, it's 25% completed, and then most people at this stage, about 33% of them buy something. Right. So you can actually have it here. You kind of go back to this. You can make it like I made the other one. All right. Product presentation. Maybe that can be the one. And you're not allowed to skip that one either. All right. So I went ahead and did that. Now, that's kind of really, you can assign that to an opportunity. So what I want to do is take you through doing an opportunity and assigning a sales cycle to it. So if I click on my opportunities, I'm going to see all my opportunities here, right? When there's the number, when they were started, the salesperson, what's part of the sales cycle. I can see here all my opportunities. I can even filter. These are open opportunities, but I want to create a new one. Okay. So the number we want to, I'm going to tab out of there because it's going to assign a number to it. I'm going to put on here, sell Bears jerseys in Wisconsin. Not that Justin Fields jersey was the number one right there. And so since Jeff is a Packer fan, I'm going to go ahead and put Jeff in here as my contact. All right. And you can see your salesperson code. That's going to be me. So I'm going to add me. Now I can assign it to a campaign number. I'm not going to do that. Priority. It's a normal one. Now the sales cycle code. Remember all that sheet we had all these different sales cycle codes, right? I'm going to go ahead and put in the Innovia Business Central one here. Well, actually, now we'll do, let's see here, first time small account. Okay, that process, because it's going to be easy to sell Bears jerseys, Wisconsin, right? And as you can see here, I went ahead and created the opportunity, but now I don't have my sales cycle stages set, right? So if I hit process and hit activate first stage, I'm going to hit yes, and I went ahead and clicked in my initial conversation. So it tells you right here, when did it change? What's the estimated close date? Remember, I made it in a month, percentage chance, or all this right here. And then I can actually, if I wanted to, I can go to process and hit update. Let's say I had a call with Jeff. I can go here and then I can change this to the next step and all the way to close. All right. So I know we've gone on a little over 40 minutes here. What I want to do, open it back up here for questions.
Thank you, Steve. I do not see any questions that have come through, but if anybody has any, please feel free to get them in and we can get them addressed with Steve. Steve, while we wait, any last minute words that you would like to share as a wrap up?
Well, I would say that if you currently own Business Central, this is included in your software. And if you're just want to take care of your clients and you're looking for opportunities in a pipeline, it's a pretty robust system. I get asked quite a bit, what about Salesforce? What about Dynamics Nav or all these custom ones? And it really depends because it's, you know, the other ones offer some other features that you can use. But what I tell folks is that this is not an add-on. You are not connecting this. This is a relationship that sits inside of your Business Central. So, and you already have, if you already have licenses, well, you're not paying anything more for it. So don't be scared of it. You know, a lot of folks are like, they're scared of it or they're worried about the investment. But I think as we go through this AI and this whole cloud to mobile mindset, I'm seeing more activity where folks are looking at relationship management in there. So between that, Angie, did anyone put any questions in?
No, I do not see any.
Okay.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for attending our webinar today. And if you're watching on demand, thank you for taking the time out to join us. If you do come up with a question that you'd like to get addressed to Steve, feel free to reach out to him or your account manager here at Innovia Consulting, and we would be more than happy to further address your questions. We do have more of our events on our website, and that's innovia.com/events. So you can check out that page. And we do have our training workshop page up, and that's innovia.com/workshops. We have a wide variety of workshops to fit your role. So check out the ones that are right for you and your team, and you can get registered. If you have not heard the latest Innovia Conversation podcast with Steve and Jeff, we have a library of podcast episodes for you to listen to, and you can learn more about them on our podcast page, and that's innovia.com/podcast. Browse through our selection and subscribe so you'll get notified when those new episodes air. And we have our customer conference information on our website. You can visit our conference page at innovia.com/conferences. The Innovia Customer Conference is a free event for you to attend. So check out our conference page to learn more and register for our event. And you can also register for Dynamics Con Live. Both conferences are back-to-back at the same venue starting on May 21st. So register now so you don't miss out on these two great events. All right, well, thank you again, everyone, for attending. Thank you, Steve, for the presentation, and we look forward to seeing you soon on another Innovia webinar. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.